This is a review of Cornerstone's service module with a focus on the workflow. So how jobs are handled from when they come in to when they're added to a ticket, then placed on the calendar and assigned to a tech, through the technician doing the work by pulling parts through the inventory list and adding labor through time cards. So let's start with a basic inbound call from a customer. Let's say Maggie May. We're going to look the customer up and open the customer. Maggie called because she got a notice of the need to upgrade her old 3G radio. So what we're going to do is go to appointment service history on the left here in Maggie's account, and we're going to insert a ticket. So that loads a ticket, including labor rates, which saves a lot of time. And from here, we need to find out who's available to do that call. So all we need to do is click on calendar, which loads the calendar. We're going to look at the week view. When the calendar is loaded from a customer record in a newly created service ticket, it creates an unscheduled ticket, which is sitting right here. So what I'm going to do is drag this ticket over to an open time slot with Jake, a 2-hour time slot to install that new radio. So now it's scheduled. I'm going to close out of the calendar, which brings us back to the service ticket. And I'm going to add what's needed, which is to upgrade the radio. And I could close it out, but I'm going to go one step further and add the radio itself. I'm going to add that part. So I go to the service item list, and I'm just going to find that radio by part ID. And there it is. I will select it. And you can see the price is here, cost is over here. Let's click OK to save it, close, and click OK to save the ticket. So at this point, the appointment service ticket is scheduled, and it's time for the technician to do their work. This ticket was assigned to Jake, and this is Jake's calendar. So Jake is logged in, ready to do the work, just opens the ticket and takes a look around. You can see service items are here, so Jake's going to go ahead and install that new radio. Jake also noticed that the battery the customer has is very old, so Jake's going to replace the battery. Let's go ahead and add that part here by part ID. You can also look it up by name. And it's a $50 radio. Click OK. And we've pulled the two parts that we need. So we're going to close out of this. Next step is to add the time. So Jake is done installing. He just needs to insert a time card. It's a 2-hour appointment, so let's go ahead and make it 2 hours. There you go. So 2 hours, and you have options here for overtime, trip charges, etc. But it's a 2-hour standard service call. Let's click OK. And that's it. The labor has been added. The parts have been added. And at this point, all Jake needs to do is invoice. So we're going to click on invoice, and we're going to click OK to create that invoice. Very quick. So it's got the ticket information at the top. It's got the cell unit here, the battery here, and the 2 hours of labor here. $589.99. If Jake is with the customer, you can take payment on the spot or refer the customer to the payment portal here, and the customer can pay by credit card or ACH debit. But basically, Jake is done with the work. Jake can then move on with his day to his next appointment. Just another minute on the calendar from the perspective of the dispatcher. So this is the quarterback's view of the calendar. You can have your technicians listed here. You can also have non-technicians listed on the calendar if you want to keep track of everybody, including administrators, sales reps, etc. It's a drag and drop calendar, so if something changes, you can take an appointment and move it over to somebody else, as like that. At the top, there are filter options. So there are certain things you want to look at, like unscheduled appointments. You can do that. Very useful. Categories, if you want to look at appointments by type of service. You've got options here to look at things like time cards, depending on what it is you want to review. So you can add those, take those away. You can get rid of regular appointments to only look at service tickets. You also have options to look at the calendar by list view. There are some benefits to looking at the list view, including completed. You can see which tickets are and are not completed. You can also do some sorts here, which may be very useful for dispatching purposes. For example, what town or map ID are these appointments in? Our service module also has a very useful inventory dashboard where you can look at your parts list. You can also do some filtering. For example, if you want to look at where you're short, you can click on to order, which will show you where you need to order parts. You have options top where you can look at part by category and some various other options here, kits and other things that will be very helpful in managing your inventory. In terms of the item itself, you can drill down and look at the part ID and the various components of an inventory item, including who's the vendor, what is your cost, what is your price. You can even build in labor to that price. So if you want to quote it with labor, you can enter that here. Again, it'll save time when you go to do the installation. Top right, you can track your inventory counts. Some customers do that, others do not. And if you use our system to generate purchase orders, you basically can check your items in the inventory list, create a PO. When you receive the PO, it'll replenish your inventory. No need to do barcode scanning, that sort of thing. Basically, you add it back to inventory and the system will automatically update all of the counts. Our service module is very robust and has lots of options and filters and ways to pre-configure things. So if you have specific questions, we'd love to show you around. Just give us a call and we'll schedule a demo. Thanks.